chief, but because he's off doing duties that have nothing to do with being the chief of police, I guess he's not here. But I guess I'll change my direction. 2 weeks ago, this body did something that was incredibly out of character and found that two shootings that happened for Gresario Mac were out of policy. The only other time, or 2 other times that you've done this, and the 2 other times that you've done this, nothing has come about it. You guys have not holding the police officers accountable. You have not fired the police officers. The police officers have not been removed from duty. None of these things have happened. And it's because the chief of police refused to do their job. And still, what this police commission is supposed to do is be the voice of the community and instill their power and their enforcement onto the chief of police. One of your powers and the ways that you check back, just like, if you went to an intro poli-sci class, is one of the reasons about how you check and balance each other out is that you have the power to fire the chief of police if they don't respond to commands or things that you approved of. And so if Chief Moore does not fire these 2 officers who, under your, according to your decision, committed murder and killed someone unlawfully or out of LAPD policy and procedure, then you should fire the chief of police because he's not upholding the law, he's not upholding the rules or upholding the rulings that you have made, and then he continuously, just like Chief Beck did, made you guys look weak and inefficient because you were refusing to hold the chief of police accountable, just like the chief of police is refusing to hold the police officers accountable who are killing people unjustly that you have found. And so if the Chief Moore does not come back and say that these 2 officers should be fired, then you should fire the chief of police.
George Betty, former director of policy and conservation in Paulding, California. That's only 117 years of civil rights, people. And 54 of my own, that makes it 172. Wow, former chief is back. Our chief is back. Looks like your chief enforcer is a female, just like Beck's was. See, Beck told his chief right here at this podium for his chief enforcer to take me and take my complaints, so she takes me in a room where you obviously beat people up to get confessions out of them, trying to intimidate me, and then says, we're too busy for that. OIG, you know how many times I've been to you, fool, and you broken the law? I'm supposed to get a complaint number right away.
About the chief's report, stay on topic, please.
Hey, Sobroff, I am on topic. And a part of it is about you and your criminality, Dudio. Because none of you do your damn job here. And when I inform your agency that you've been a criminal in your agency before by erasing the audio to the 5/5/15 Police Commission meeting, dummy, that is your business. And it's your business by the law to immediately take it in for closed session. Do you read the Bagley, King, and Green Act? You laugh like you want Mr. Telfang, because it's all coming down. Because this isn't a bunch of BS out of my rear like it is from you guys. We're going to hold you accountable to the law. And all you did with that last one is tell this dude to do his job. Now, is he going to do it? Are you going to follow the 2003 DOJ agreement, dummies? Are you going to do more killings where you're co-conspirators? That's the law!
Next speaker, please.
Gina Viola, followed by Audrey George and the Red Sheep Hunt.
Morning.
I personally have been coming here for 2 years. And for 2 years I've sat through chief's reports that have consistently said gang violence is down. Gang violence is down. A few weeks ago it was down 46%, today it's down 36.6%. Shame on all of you for using Nipsey Hussle's death as a publicity stunt. Mr. Soboroff, you tweeted after he died that you were to meet with him yesterday. Why didn't you send that tweet out on Friday?
Because they didn't want me to, even know what you're talking about.
Yes, we
I know
do.
what I'm talking about.
Whoa.
I know that you're using a man's death as a publicity stunt for your own advancement. Now that Nipsey Hussle is gone, you claim you were going to meet with him to
And
give the community
Jay-Z.
solutions. I don't know how long you've been on this board, I think it's 5+ years. You haven't offered the community any solutions. The community is not coming to you for solutions. Your behavior here has always been pro-police and anti-community.
Right.
And now you are using his death as a means to make it look otherwise. It is appalling. I'm beyond myself. You are not who the community seeks for solutions. Organizations like the Youth Justice Coalition, that is the reason gang violence is down in this city. That is why these reports come in. Week after week, as I sit here and listen, gang violence is down. Now you're going to go out and do a press release today saying it's up, there's a sudden surge in it? So which is accurate? Is it accurate when you give that during the chief's report, or is it accurate when you're on the stage?
Yes.
That's what I want to know. And how dare you let CBS run with a story saying shots were fired, people were stabbed at a peaceful vigil. I myself went to a vigil of 1,000 people at a cemetery when a white musician died. You know what I didn't see there? Police. And I didn't see any riot police at all. Black people meet for a vigil, and you send riot police.
Next speaker, please.
Audrey George, please.
So obvious. So obvious. So blatant. So blatant. So blatant.
You are so correct.
I ask if the commission and the chief have read the $1 Million Hoods report that was just released, covering 2012 and 2017. This is a very thoroughly researched and accurately reported report on violence in the city. And you will see that one of the reasons for violence is racism. The total arrests in Los Angeles, 46% black people contribute to those statistics. 9% of our population is black people. Another reason for this violence in our city is the fact that these incidents of arrests and stops are significant because they have results. They result from people in the community being separated from their families and from their communities. And then it's a cycle because that separation causes more crime. Look at the reasons for crime. I wanted to challenge also that the LAPD is going to use Nipsey's death as a reason to legitimize more cops in communities.
Right. Right.
It's insidious, it's evil, and it's not going to work, and the community will fight you on that.
Yep.
The things we don't need from you, as per a quote from Pete White, is we don't need LAPD in our neighborhoods trying to make us feel safe. The majority of us, meaning black community, have never felt safe during your incursion into our homes and our hoods. Just keep that in mind. Realize that falsifying statistics, criminalizing black people in their own neighborhoods will not...
The Red Chief, followed by Melina, Dula, and Kayla.
Morning, sir.
Morning, Red Chief Hunt. Last week I got mad because Overall broke the law. Mike, I owe you an apology. So Overall, next time you break the law, I'm going to file against you. It's criminal. When you interrupt this meeting, that's a criminal penalty by the federal courts. So I want you to know that. Mike, I truly, sincerely owe you an apology. My next thing is that you fired this commander woman, and you didn't fire the guy who was drunk on the freeway. Rehire that lady and get her back in 52 weeks of AAA. Hey, I'm an alcoholic too, so ain't nobody no better than nobody else. If you fire the guy, or if you let this the guy back down to Captain's Reach, then she needs to be sent down to Captain's Reach, 52 weeks of AAA. Get her back on the force. So a whole bunch of bullshit going on here, and it needs to stop. And I don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to do it. So Rob, you've been here too long, man. we need a new president. Give it up, because you're an old tyrant. And I want to sit down and have breakfast with you and explain why that this is criminal, what you doing to these people by kicking them out the meeting. That's a federal crime, and it's very serious. Bob Arco's got my report that I did in federal court, and I assure you, I'm going to win again. But it's not about that. It's about treating people fair, equally fair, and being constitutionally right and following the law. Please do that. Thank you, the Red Chief Fund.
Thank you, sir.
Marina Abdullah, followed by Kayla and Eric White.
So I wanted to lift up something Michael said earlier. 2 weeks ago, this body ruled that on 2 counts, Ryan Lee and Martin Robles were out of policy. Before they issued that finding, and I know your name is not Beatrice Gramala, before they issued that finding, Chief Moore, you said that you stood on their side. I hope that that ruling convinces you to switch your position and fire Ryan Lee and Martin Robles. The community is demanding it. Rosario Mack's father and family are demanding it. And we don't want more murderous police in our neighborhoods. One of the things that I lifted up is it wasn't just about endangering and stealing the life of Rosario Mack. That mall that he was murdered in is the mall that I go to. It's the mall that my children go to. So they endangered an entire community. And if they don't deserve to be fired for that, then it's very clear what it is you stand for.
Right.
The other thing that we want to lift up, and I know that conveniently the report cuts off at March 30th, but you all had a press conference that was posed to the public before this meeting, is that Nipsey Hussle's murder is being used at this moment to pour police into the neighborhood that I live in.
Right.
And we're not even able to make our way home anymore without being pulled over. We need to understand that safety for our community and what Nip believed in is safety from our community, for our community, comes from our community. We don't need you there over-policing us. We don't need you there questioning me in gas station parking lots.
Right.
We don't need you there to intimidate, harass, and brutalize our community. What we need is community solutions. So give up some of your budget.
Yep.
Give your budget so we
Next speaker,
can
please.
create our own.
Who's next?
Kayla?
Okay, you can come back during public comment. Thank you.
And Steve Soboroff,
You come back during public comment.
keep that
Thank you.
shit to yourself, because nobody believes that you're so sad that Nipsey was killed. You are. You want his land.
What's funny about that?
You're a land
Nothing.
developer, of course.
Please stop disrupting the meeting.
That's
Go ahead.
disrupting justice.
I only have a few things to say. I would like to uplift what everyone has said in terms of the outrageous amount of police in our neighborhood now after Nipsey Hussle's passing on Sunday. It has been grossly gross. I'll leave it at that. I wanted to say that I do not believe that our Black Messiah was planning on sitting down with you to talk about ways that you can better help gang violence in our neighborhoods. But if you continue to push that, I would like to say, Steve, if you feel the way that you tweeted that you feel, that you would act differently in these meetings when people are grieving. Because these meetings aren't about potholes or dumbass. You have people in here that are worried about their lives and the lives of their loved ones that were taken, and it's utterly disrespectful how you treat people in this meeting, and it's probably the most immature thing I've seen out of a grown man in a really long time. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can just shut things down, shut people up, when people are trying to express the things that are weighing on their hearts. And you're not from our community, so you wouldn't know anything about our hero, or what he meant to us, or how people are grieving, or how peaceful that vigil has been for the past 2 days. It has been a community of love, and a community of supporting each other, and understanding, and public grieving. community grieving.
Right.
And you have no place there.
Right.
And I don't believe that he was going to come here, and through conversations that I had with his family, most recently about the meeting with Rosario Mack's family, I know that he knew, and nobody over there is confused about who you are and who he was and what his mission was. And it definitely didn't involve you.
Wow.
Eric White.
So,
I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead.
all right, so I just want to say that, I would say according to past practice, how the police have conducted themselves, in that neighborhood, to invite more of them actually increases the chance of more shootings. And I would say that also, when you go there as a resident of the community, it kind of gives you similar, experience, like you in a military campground or something, or like some type of war zone. You just see all these guns and people just standing all brute, you know what I mean? It kind of gives you like a certain impression, and you feel like you have to protect yourself, or you feel the need to, I don't know, you almost don't feel welcome. And, I just want to lift that up in this meeting, in this space, because I just want to make sure that officers really own the power that they possess and the presence that they bring when they come places. And it can be intimidating, and it can bring flight or flight type of reactions at times, and, I personally experienced, police brutality myself multiple times, and I just want to say that, I have a wife and a son to come home to, and I want to make sure I make it home to them every night, and when you're in that type of predicament, it's hard to say what you would do. A lot of people say what they would do, but until you're actually in the shoes, in that situation, as a black person, with the percentage of, the likeliness of, how many times that's happened, you can't get those facts. Those are statistics that just point and prove and show that we are more likely at risk. And I just wanted to just ask that we just take that in mind when we come up with community solutions for these type of situations.
Thank you, sir.
We have no other comment cards on that item. We're now on item number 4, public comment. We have 9 comment cards. The first 3, Jim Olson, Audrey George, and Jeffrey Delshea.
Hello, gentlemen and ladies. I was here on February 19th, and I gave a 16-page document to Chief Moore and Professor Steve Soboroff. And I have not gotten any letters or anything back from there. That complaint has made some new developments, and I want to provide that with you in writing today. I want to ask Chief Moore, did you ask anyone in your office to write back to me?
Yes, sir. I've read that matter, and also provided to my chief of staff in my office. They're available in the back of the room. Whether or not we have a letter actually inbound to you or not, we can answer that today. And also, if you have additional information, we'll be happy to take it from you.
Thank you. I just want to ask one more thing. On March 26th, I was with my Section 8 caseworker. Her name is Ronnie Jones. And when I was here on the 19th February, I asked the officer at the office desk out there if there was a phone number to you, directly to you, where I could talk to you. And he gave me the number of, I believe it's, I have the fax number, I have it now. It's 213-486-0166, that's a fax number. And Ronnie
So
said,
we'll get to, we don't need to do that publicly, we'll get to that information.
Okay.
Can someone help him get him clear?
All right.
Thank you very much, sir.
all right, one is for the chief, for the president, one is for the chief.
Thank you, sir.
The next speaker, Audrey George, please.
Thank you.
I once again encourage everyone to read the report, The $1 Million Hoods, which proves the blatant racism, the pervasive racism in the LAPD. 46% of arrests are black people, who comprise only 9% of our population. Among the top reasons why white people are arrested are failures to appear, which we know is tied integrally to homelessness. Substance abuse, which we know that white people use drugs at least as much or more than people of color. Substance abuse, parole violations, which we know is just a direct result of the other kinds of arrests. Steve Soboroff, you have in media and in statements made always aligned yourself with LAPD. It's like a love fest. There's no way I personally believe that Nipsey has any plans to meet with you to fix problems in the community that he believed. He clearly believed.
Today I released the email that they sent me, so
We're clearly...
you can have more time, but today I released the email that they sent to me requesting the meeting. You can have quiet, you can have 2 more minutes, but today...
Brown Act again.
Email was released. They're requesting meeting with me and with the chief.
Jay-Z.
Take 2 minutes and start it.
Jay-Z.
We know that Nipsey believed through his spoken word and the work he did in the community that the LAPD is responsible for the violence in his community, for the poverty in his community, and the other problems in his community. Unless he was going to just communicate that to you and Chief Moore, that would be a reason he might be asking for a meeting. Because if he asked for a meeting, it would maybe be because you might hear him in a way that you don't hear us.
Right.
Steve Soboroff also, what the hell was that last week? Is there any rule that when I come up here and speak, I have to be facing this way? That I can't address the people in the community that come here, as well that I even have to address a commission that I truly believe doesn't usually hear anything I say anyway? You challenged Hamid Khan on why he wasn't facing you. I don't know what the hell that was about, or if there's anything you can say to defend that statement.
Where, Steve? I got him right here, Steve. The actual law. You're going to get a copy.
I was a big nerd in high school. Gene Roddenberry. We can lift up many names here. I believe he was a sergeant in the LAPD before he burned out or whatever. So I believe there is room for improvement. I think the people have spoken on that regard. But I think with regards to Star Trek and that whole thing, I think you would be wise to consider that there have been idealistic people who have nice visions of the future that were produced within this institution in part, and that's maybe you could put that into your system and see that there is various futures present in front of you at all times, and you have lots of options. I think this Star Trek future that I like to watch has certain evolution has occurred in certain areas of the way people relate to each other and things of that nature. Let me just lift up a few other names while I have 40 seconds left. On YouTube, if you're interested, there's these people doing these audits where they film police, just like continuous filming. It's rather interesting, and the law is sometimes hard to find when you're watching that. It's not really funny, I'm sorry to laugh. So I watched this guy named Nasty Nathaniel, and also there's a guy named High Desert Community Watch, and you guys usually give them a pretty hard time, but I think they're somewhat fair critics at times, and you could listen to them.
The next three speakers, George Bazzetti, Gina Viola, and Zach Sherwin.
Okay. Damn, we need a little dose of reality for old Silveroff, because he's waving a piece of paper in his hand that has nothing to do with the law, right, Stevie boy? Now, you know what the Bagley Keene Open Meeting Act is, Mr. Stevie Silveroff, and any of you fools up there? Do you have any concept of, or ever read, or capable of comprehending with your limited capabilities, and Steve, I think you're either the biggest liar in the world, you've got some serious dementia, because I've been up your rear for years. Blowing away billions at LA Unified. See, I prepared here for you, because you're also ignorant, and I'll be loading to my website, frogbuster.org, where you can watch and committing felonies by erasing the audio to the meeting at 5:15, right, Dudio? Because you had to go into closed session with your boys and tell your people to erase it, because you had to produce it in 2.5 hours. And we check with people that do that for a living, it takes 2 hours to do it. So damn, you are really moving fast. Now, Nipsey Hussle, well, I go search this out, and I find the best information not in the U.S. people. It's in the Daily Mail from London. With all the quotes by you. You see, you didn't care about this family that we were here before, that Melina was talking about, and all the hundreds of other families that died. If this wasn't with JD, you wouldn't have cared about Nipsey Hussle. Why don't you read about all the people backing him? Steve, I watch your gears turn in your head just like Roy Romer when he's the first person to introduce himself to me, right? Business! There you go. Show it to the ignorant people.
Gina Viola.
You're on the record.
Historically, and in the present, instead of investing in communities' health and well-being, policing has always been used as a solution which further exacerbates the problems and keeps things in a continuing downward spiral of poverty, violence, racism, and all-around structural harm. The conditions on the ground, which are by design, would create an environment that triggers tragic events, like we had this weekend. The insidious and deeply racist part of it is that within white supremacist narratives, of which policing, such as the LAPD, is the deployment and enforcement arm of white supremacy, the communities themselves would be blamed for their trauma, and the immediate response we hear is black-on-black violence. This further creates opportunities for the system to justify and further expand the scope of policing, targeting all neighborhoods and individuals with programs like SAR, activity reporting, PredPol, and LASER. You're hearing from community members that they don't want you there. They haven't felt safe with you there all weekend. I don't live there, but I'm not far away. But I'm a white soccer mom, and guess what? It's on my radar. It's on our radar. The whole community is waking up to what has been happening here. We are all going to start coming to these meetings. We are all going to be here to speak truth to you. When I look at you today, do you know what I see? I see executioners. That's all I can see as I look at you today. You need to know that.
Zach Sherwin, followed by Mateo Nagasti.
Commissioner Sobroff, I want to talk about you and Nipsey Hussle as well, and I would be curious to see if you interrupt me or make faces, as you did to the 4 women who brought this up before me, 2 of whom were women of color. Your tweet yesterday about Nipsey ended, quote, "I'm so very sad," and it is sad. It's a tragedy when people get shot to death. Nobody deserves it. But what makes you so very sad about this killing? I have never heard you say or tweet that you're, quote, "so very sad" about people who have been shot by LAPD officers. I've heard you utter the formula, "I'm sorry for your loss." I've been in the room when you've looked at your phone while family members were speaking at this podium, but I've never heard you say or tweet that the death of Eric Rivera was so very sad. I've never heard you say or tweet that the death of Grishari O'Mac was so very sad. I've never heard you say or tweet that the death of Waukesha Wilson was, quote, "so very sad." I understand why you tweeted that. It's popular and safe to performatively mourn Nipsey Hussle right now, and it also must be infinitely easier to get on board and oppose a murder that wasn't committed by a police officer you're responsible for overseeing. But why didn't you tweet about your so-called solutions to gang violence earlier instead of on the day of Nipsey's death? It's difficult not to conclude that the explanation is self-promotion and star-fuckery. What we have seen from you is full support of LAPD, their policies, and their killings. You are so very sad, smacks of hypocrisy and lip service. To say you don't know what you're talking about to people who are speaking at this podium is a bad look for a bad leader of a bad institution in a bad system. To the other commissioners, I have friends who have come to this meeting for the first time and cannot believe your president's conduct in this room. I can't believe you are all comfortable with the way he runs these meetings and that you consent to it week after week, that this is your figurehead. I can't believe there's nothing you can do about it. I know you were all in the room with me and you've seen the behavior that I've seen today. This guy has got to go. Also, this microphone is at an awkward height for tall people and I urge you to do something about it.
Excellent.
Okay, I just wanted to go back to Grishari O'Mac when I read that Chief Moore said that all of the actions by the officers were in policy. Yeah, I read that you said that, and I just think that's really disgusting. You couldn't even admit walking back and shooting him. The fatal shot was out of policy. I mean, you do this all the time, so no wonder it keeps happening, because you stand up for everybody by saying it's in policy. And I was going to go on to it about an article I read about a Virginia police chief who had to resign over duress a couple weeks ago because after an officer was convicted of killing an unarmed black man, she was getting harassment inside her own office that she had to resign under duress because she had not seen such racism and abuse authority since that actual conviction happened, and she had to actually resign her position. So I gave it, at least she admitted what she was up against. I've never even heard that from you. I never heard it from anybody. So, maybe there's hope. But if we can jump back to the Nipsey Hussle thing. I don't see anywhere on Rock Nation's page that it said it had a meeting with the police commission. So I don't know. I don't believe you. Why would he want to meet with you anyway? You guys rubber stamp, and that includes the mayor. When I see you guys standing up there, it's not laughable, it's just disgusting, because you sign off on all of these police murders, and I don't know if the police didn't.
Jacqueline Richardson and Audrey George.
Oh, I already... Oh, yeah, for 5A maximum.
You have 2 cards?
Oh, is this 5A1?
No.
She has another
Shouldn't
one
have said
for
anything, you'd have caught up 2 times.
You have 2 cards on the board. And you have a card on
They wouldn't know
5A.
the difference, you know what?
Thank you.
This is a tirade against the Russians. I'm not angry with them. Why?
because there's real sharp leaders, and they're here in the United States, and nobody knows who they are. Who are the Russians? Are they the white people? Are they the black people? Are they the Chinese? Are they the Mexicans? They're all of them! White, black, Mexican, Chinese. I believe if you ID the Russians and everybody else, not just Russians, everybody else, that would keep your crime rate down considerably. Because everyone wants to be able to come here, come and go as they please, and have the citizenship paperwork. But if you had that, it would force them to be nice with everyone and cut off these crime problems. Everyone wants to come here. Green cards, in progress getting citizenship paperwork. I don't believe most of the Russians have citizenship paperwork. That's probably the biggest problem. I'm against the Russians. They have sharp leaders. I don't know how sharp all of them are, but that's some real sharp leaders. The real nice behind them, they're not so nice. I believe their problems in the job, housing, and the most important thing is maybe they're not hiding themselves, but you don't know who they are, so they are hiding themselves out in public. They're hiding themselves. And they take advantage of jobs and housing and taxes and voting and other areas. Again, who are the Russians? White, black, Mexican, Chinese, all of them. They're all of those things. And also accuse the homeless of being Russians, the majority of them. And if you ask them, oh, are you Russian? They take the fifth. They won't tell you if they're Russian or not. I accuse most of them, or many of them, of being Russian people too. Whether they are or not, it could be wrong, but I accuse them anyway of being Russian. Like I said, they have some sharp leaders. They take advantage of the jobs. They take advantage of voting. They take advantage of not...
And the final speaker is Yvonne Michelle Autry. This is public comment.
I got here late today, but yeah, this is...
I'll be up on YouTube tonight.
Chief of Police. Yeah, I'm standing and I'm requesting your resignation. I think that you set a very poor example. I think that your example is of non-leadership. I think you're a disgrace, not only to the police officers that really serve and protect, or they try to serve and protect without bias due to gender, due to size, due to race, ethnicity, or socioeconomic background. I think you're a disgrace to the human race. I can speak on the basis of 52 years of living in the Los Angeles community. I think you're even worse than the Dowgate, much worse than the Chief Bradley and former Chief of Police Charlie Beck, because you posture as a false leader that postures for change, positive change in the community in favor of the community consensus, which is a lie. So you are worse. I think you're a closet Klansman as well. So I'm standing for your resignation, and I'm asking for it. You're a disgrace. And your officers are following, it's not even a leadership, okay? Last week you heckled me. I have every right to address my elected and my appointed officials. Okay, so not only do I hold you responsible, but I hold Eric Garcetti responsible because he appointed you. We do not want you. I don't want you. And I don't appreciate your disrespect. I can piss on this podium, and you better listen to me. But when we bring to you issues of the community because of the homicides in our community, and you continually write off our complaints as being within policy and procedure, and you heckle me, it shows you have no character, especially not to the call of duty that you're required. That's why this police force is perpetrating on the level that
We
it
have
is.
some other speakers and public comments.
Thank you. Next speaker.